4, 3. Go ahead. Hit it. And welcome back to the CSS podcast. This is episode number 62, titled The Bye Week and the Greatest Bengals Draft Picks Per Round. So I'd like to welcome you to the show. We are live on YouTube. The gentleman right there is Charlie Crawley. And
hello, everyone.
I am Dave. And Sam is doing daddy duty tonight, pulling daddy duty, giving his daughter a bath and putting her to bed. So he might pop on when he's finished with that. So if he does, he'll join us probably for the topic of the week. And then we can continue moving forward with that. So before we go, Crawley, how was your weekend?
It was good. Friday, Saturday, very busy. Today was much more of a chill day, so a good mix. UC football game yesterday, live and in action, and today just more TV stuff, some football, even though I really haven't watched too much football. And the weather was nicer than I expected, so I got outside more than I had anticipated. So
beautiful, crisp fall afternoon here. These are the days that you enjoy and you don't miss football. I mean, I'm glad the Bengals didn't play today because
it made it easier.
Yep, made it a lot easier to be outside and enjoy the weather, get some stuff done. So. But yeah, I mean, good week overall. Relaxing. I know you were gone from school for seems like
3 days,
3 weeks. Yeah, but it's 3 days. But
missing 3 days, not being there is feels like you've been gone for 3 weeks.
Yep. So you'll be back on Tuesday because we have fall break. So we're coming to you live on YouTube. Those of you that are following us, thank you. Hit that like, subscribe button, and hit the both for the podcasting and YouTube live. All right, we're going to move ahead here to our topic, not the topic of the week, but the week that was. We'll start with FC Cincinnati. It was their last regular season game with the Atlanta Football Club. Went on a 2-2 tie. And Carly, what do you think about that? And you think they're ready? I know Noonan in the newspaper was a little miffed about what's his name, Budapest or Budapezzo or whatever.
Bupenza.
Bupenza. Sorry, but
yeah, I mean, I think he was annoyed just from the standpoint of we're at the end of the season here, regular season, got to get ready for the the MLS Cup, which is going to starting right up here, and then. He's not around as he needs to be for it. So I think it was annoyance, frustration. So time to sit him or whatever, but which is not, helping the team get ready for their first game because now they got another, they didn't play for 2 weeks. Now they get another week off basically before they play again. Because I was looking at their schedule. Their game one is on the 29th, October 29th.
Okay.
So I mean, today's the 22nd. So they played the 7th, and then they get 2 weeks off before they played yesterday, and now they get another 8 days off. Soccer is not meant to be played every day, but it's also not meant to have 2 weeks in between and another week, more than a week actually, kind of thing. So, that could come back to burn them. That's the only thing that definitely worries me. We'll play the winner of the New York Red Bulls and FC Charlotte. They've pretty much beaten up on FC Charlotte over the years. They haven't been around. They came around the same time since he did. So, I'm kind of rooting for FC Charlotte in that game to be in, just because the Red Bulls have been around forever and ever. I think this was their 14th year straight making the playoffs. So they have had a successful club. Not that they won the MLS Cup very often, if ever. I'm sure somebody knows that better than I do, but they also have historically been a pretty good club. So, and they definitely have played tight with even this year with FC Cincy. As a matter of fact, I think they won the last game against FC Cincy. So yeah, in terms of the game itself, last game, I mean, nobody got hurt, which is always number one in that case. But because Noonan played the guys, I mean, it wasn't like he played his B team. He played the A team, which is why he was, more frustrated with Bupenza because he would have gotten a lot of playing time. So Costa scored his 17th goal. Everything I'm reading says he's definitely the favorite to win the league MVP, and I mean that would deservedly so. I mean, when you're the first place team by 7 or 8 points, wherever they ultimately ended up being, they scored the 4th highest points MLS history. It's pretty impressive. To go from, especially the turnaround they did from 2 years ago. It's probably pretty hard to find tons of examples in any sport where the Bengals are an example of that. Joe Burrow's second year. I mean, going from pretty much worst to first.
The Reds could have been this year, but no.
Yeah, well,
no.
So that's impressive that they were able to do this, and now they got to carry it into the playoffs and see what happens with that. I think they're as good a position. I mean, they can't dictate the schedule. They can't control the schedule. I just have a little bit of worry, kind of the baseball effect. The Braves, losing in the first round, and Dodgers getting destroyed in the first round, and the Rays losing in their wild card round. The Orioles losing in the first round. So I mean, I have a little. That's my only worry. Is that layoff isn't necessarily good. So I don't know. I don't know when Charlotte and Red Bulls play. It must be midweek, because if FC Cincy's game is the 29th, maybe it's Wednesday or Thursday or something, because they're the 29th is a Sunday. Yeah, so next Sunday. Right. So probably it's probably a Wednesday kind of thing. So we'll see. I'm optimistic. It's nice to be optimistic in this way. When you're in the overall best record, and I think let's say hypothetically that they do lose to whoever, Red Bulls or Charlotte, in the round one. If your question is, was this a successful season? My answer is yes. To win the Supporters Shield by what they did, have the 4th most points in MLS history. I mean, that's pretty damn good. You can't. Yep. It's hard to complain about that.
Well, and that that brings up an interesting point. That could be a topic later on. Is that with soccer, they value the regular season a lot more, especially like you said, that winning the Supporters Shield, than football or baseball or basketball. If you like the Bulls, right? There's 72-9. If they didn't win the championship, they would have been a bust. Everybody would have said they would have been a bust.
Well, I mean, you think of the Warriors. The Warriors were 73. I mean, they have the best record in history, but they didn't win
They didn't win it
in the NBA Finals. So were they? They made it to what? I think it was even Game 7 of the Finals,
right?
And lost that. So was that a Yeah, I mean, I think if you ask Warriors fans, and Warriors for sure, the players that say that it wasn't a successful season, when in reality it really should have been. And think of this, 16 or 15-1 Patriots.
Right.
I think of them, and then the Randy Moss year, and then they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. Definitely Phil Farr is going to say that was a, not a successful season, but
I don't know. I think he would say that was a successful season compared to this season's.
But, they won today.
They did
the
win.
Bills
they
2-5. So, if the Bengals this year were 16-1 and then lost in the Super Bowl, would we say it was successful?
I probably would say no.
You think? I don't know. I said Super Bowl or bust. I think.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Yeah, because
I think making the Super Bowl 16-1 and losing the Super Bowl.
Okay, I thought you were saying they have to win the Super Bowl.
I mean, they should win the Super Bowl, but
right.
It's hard for me to say 16-1 and making the Super Bowl is not a successful season.
Well, that's true.
Even me, who's got some,
right,
my expectations are you better be better than the teams think. Let them be. So, one thing I was finding, this is taken across the board now, not just FC Cincinnati, but kind of made me think of it. Hearing some, just some radio conversation, sports radio stuff, just like, when's the last time that any Cincinnati team went all in?
Yeah. That's a good. mean, you could say 2020 when they gave all those contracts to Moose, Nick. Who else did they bring in? They brought in those two guys and, somebody else. I can't remember who, but, they were going for it, right?
Yeah. I was thinking 2012 too, when they traded those pretty high level rookies for Latos.
Right.
But they traded a couple first round picks and, so.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, no, they like their draft capital too much.
It's because it's cheap.
Yes.
That is the real reason. I mean, they won't ever say that, but that is the reason.
Right. So,
because they were talking a lot about this week, how the efficient the Bengals are with the tight end right now, and could you go after a Hunter Henry or somebody that's out there that you think they could add? I kind of think it sprung from the Chiefs getting trading for McCole Hardman, bringing him back, and the Chiefs don't mess around. I mean, they try to upgrade their team, and can we get would the Bengals be willing to do that? Give up a 7th rounder or a 6th rounder or something to bring a quality tight end or at least chance, or even they were talking about Samaje Perine, bringing him back. Is he worth a 7th round pick? So
I don't know if he is or not, but as long as
I'll say this,
some of his contract.
Yeah, but I'll say this: doing our little exercise for our topic of the year,
there's not too many 7th.
I think he's worth the 7th round pick.
That's what I was gonna say. We're
even more so the 6th round pick. The Bengals 6th round picks were worse than the 7th round pick. So
yeah.
But to me, it's hard. You don't. We just don't have a lot of examples of a Cincinnati team going all in. I mean, FC Cincinnati, I think went pretty all in. I mean, you can, soccer's is not as easy to go like from a trading and draft because you don't have draft picks and all that. I mean, you do, but they aren't guys that are going to help the team right away, kind of stuff. So, kind of thing. So, but anyway, that's some questions that came up.
Speaking of going all in, the Bearcats, they are all in the middle of it right now.
Well, they're all in the bottom.
Yes. 0-4 in the conference, Big 12 conference. Now, beginning of the year, 4.5 is what Vegas and all the books were saying was the over-under. And we said if they get 5 and 7, that would be considered a good first year in the Big 12.
I was saying 6. I thought 6 and 6 was
you were saying 6 and 6 with a bowl, but
cheese and bowl, something,
the Blue Bonnet Bowl. Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, that would be their bowl, but the way they're playing right now. But yesterday's game, I mean, they had an opportunity. They had a couple of opportunities, and as Satterfield said, we cannot give the ball away. Right, the 4th down play, bad snap. Emory Jones fumbles the snap, and Baylor recovers, and then Baylor scores a touchdown, and then on ensuing kickoff, we just give them the ball. And Satterfield was hot in his presser. He said that should have been fair caught, and there's no excuse for that. That we're just giving the ball away, and he wasn't happy with the performance, and nor should he be. And, but he is a stand-up guy, and he said, it starts with us, the coaching staff, and we got to get this right. We got to bring back UC football, because right now what you're seeing is not UC football. But overall, Baylor, they had not Baylor, but UC had 2 100-yard backs, and usually they win a game when they have
almost everybody wins a game.
Right. I think they were like 35-6 in their, last 41 games. The Bearcats, when they had 2 100-yard rushers, they,
you win.
But we also have to put it in perspective. Luke Fickell was 4-8 his first year, and that was in the AAC. So, we're moving.
Yeah, I'm not on the anti-Satterfield train. I'm giving.
No, I'm not either. Yeah, I'll give him until next year.
Yes, the Iowa State game notwithstanding, is that game and the Miami game, they should not be losing Miami. I mean, Miami lost to the Toledo Rockets. So
yeah, but their number one quarterback went out. Gabbert went out with a lower leg injury again. So
but they were down 14-3 right away. So,
but Toledo is one of the better teams
in the MAC.
In the MAC,
still in the MAC.
Still in the MAC.
No Big 12 team should be losing to a MAC team. So, bottom line. But anyway, so I'm not ready to fire Satterfield. I think he needs at least another year, get more of his recruits in him. He's not really using any. I mean, his transfer recruits are in, but his freshmen, I don't know if any freshmen are playing yet. So you got to give him another year, see how it goes, see if there's an upgrade, regardless how this year goes. I mean, we're playing with a quarterback who, he's on his third team. This is it for him. Like, even if they were 7-0, this is it for Emory Jones, he doesn't have anything left. So, that's the same thing with the quarterback situation. Like, for one, you don't want to use Brady DeGrosh until you don't want to give up his redshirt year at this point. Right. You might play him the last game or two, kind of thing, just to get, that's where but not yet, not yet. That offensive line, who actually did play better on Saturday, it definitely played better. I didn't feel like Emory Jones, was running for his life like he had, especially the week before. He had a little bit of time, a little bit more time to, that extra half second or whatever to, get to a second or third receiver. And obviously some of the people that sit around us, they made several times. I heard several times behind us, like, well, he even looked at his second receiver this time, kind of thing. So, so I'm not ready to say bye, see you later. There was going to be difficulties. I don't know if I expected this many, but there was going to be difficulties. You're moving up to a better league. If they were still in the AAC, I bet they wouldn't be 2-5 and 0-4 in the league. I think they'd be pretty much challenging for the league title.
Yep.
With what they got. So, I heard, Bearcat Journal report guy talking about, that same kind of thing. If you were in the AAC, they probably, what they really have is a good AAC team, kind of thing. I mean, how many teams can get it other than the Buffalo, other than Colorado, who is struggling, has had a few struggles recently. Right. So even there, when you're changing over your whole team, it's not easy to, be successful when you're playing Big 12 kind of level competition. So I mean, that's a rare thing. So yeah, I mean, I think within the game that they're in a situation where they're just not that good and they're making terrible mistakes, and you can't do that. You can't have that combination. If you're really, really good, you can live with some mistakes, but they're making, from the fumble on the kickoff return, which was just horrible. I mean, that was just a bad one. I think their special teams just been bad overall. I feel like they got the wrong. I mean, this is my little non-coach. What little coaching I would know in football. Still, just in my eyes, like, you can't. There's got to be somebody better to return these. I mean, the same guy has now muffed a kick return and a punt return. And that was in the Miami game, and that led to a costly. Or no, that was BYU game. Sorry, BYU game late in the game, muffed the punt. And then BYU got at the 15 and then scored right away. So, it's got, at a minimum, you got to catch the ball. There should be, that's, a punt and kick return to me, bare minimum, you can never have a turnover. 100%. You can't have a turnover. You see guys in the NFL, they muff one. If they're a borderline guy and they muff one punt, they're cut the next day. I mean, that's how hardcore they are about that. And so we have two serious turnovers. They got to look at something else, kind of thing. So, you had the fourth down. They were 1 for 4 on fourth down again. So that's been an issue all year long. So just not good enough to overcome these bad, these really, bad mistakes. Because if it's just, again, if it's a boxing match, maybe UC wins. Maybe on the judges' card they win yesterday with all the running and. Now, Baylor did throw for a lot. I mean, it seems like the 2, maybe 3 worst elements of UC just keep killing them. The defensive backfield, the offensive line, and special teams. These other teams have bad areas as well, but for whatever reason, they're just UC's not getting the mistakes and taking advantages of these as much as they are taken advantage of. So whatever that is, I guess you make your own luck. So
yeah, and it next week doesn't get any easier. They travel to Stillwater,
and Oklahoma State's on a roll right now.
Yes,
too.
they are, and Mike Gundy's got him. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm a man. He's got him going. He's got him playing. So yeah. It's probably not going to be pretty. I'm going to say, and it's a night game, and Stillwater's going to be rocking and rolling.
Oh, is it a night game?
It's a night game. Yeah, it's a night game. So I'm going the Cowpokes, probably 33, Bearcats 17.
Yeah, that's probably legitimate. I was thinking probably I was thinking 34-20 maybe. So,
all right. Moving on, Bengals on a bye. Up next, San Fran. A couple of glimmer, little silver lining for us, right? Deebo Samuel's out. He's at least out the Bengals game and possibly the game after. McCaffrey, I think it's game to game. I think he's questionable for Monday night. He's been practicing, I believe, and rib injury, oblique injury, just
never know.
You never know. So the Bengals, hopefully coming off the bye, they can fix some things. Burrow's calves, another week removed. Our offensive line has to do a good job. Jonah has to step up, and Volson has to do a better job in the middle of protecting Burrow on pass plays, and in order for us to have a chance here. So we'll see. We'll see what the Bengals do. Prediction for that game, Crawley. I know we all picked them to lose that game.
I'm gonna say they're gonna lose. I'm gonna keep that prediction, and I'll say I'll say 49ers 24-20.
I had them in the original 3 losses. This was their first loss of the season, but since they've already got 3 losses, they have to win out for me. So I'm going to flip it. I'm going to say the Bengals coming off the bye. We're going to sneak out 24-21 with a victory. So
that goes against history.
It does, but hey, got to start somewhere.
We may have the worst. I mean, I'm sure this is somewhere out there. The worst record after buys in the NFL. Marvin Lewis, terrible.
Yeah.
Zach, I don't think it's been very good. So,
well, I don't know because
I could be wrong.
Because we won 10 in a row last year, and it was off the bye. So yeah, we'll have to look it up. We'll get the producer.
They won 10 in a row the year before.
Yeah, something like that. So, all right. And then we've got high school football.
We want to talk about that, the Jason Williams article, the Empire article?
We can. I mean, we're at 23 minutes here if you want to. Yeah.
I mean, we could quickly go through it.
All right, sure. Jason Williams from the Inquirer. Shout out to him. Graded the Bengals. Offense, defense, coaching, all that good stuff overall. And go ahead and we'll just see if we agree.
I got it here. So he gave Joe Burrow a C.
That's probably accurate. I mean, playing through injury was crappy the first 3 games. I mean, 2 games. I mean, it was
bad.
Real bad. I mean,
that was an F.
Yeah. And, the Arizona game was good, but first half of, last week's game was good, and second half was bad. So really, I think he just probably didn't want to give him anything lower than a C, but you could probably go lower than a C.
Yeah. I think The injury is the excuse. Not excuse in a bad way. Like that's the explanation. That's probably a better word. The injury. If you take the injury, if you took the injury out of it, it's not a C. Not for Joe Burrow. It's probably a D.
Yeah.
First couple weeks an F. But I'm sure he's bumping it up a little bit because of the injury issue. So I'd probably still couldn't go C. I'd probably still go C minus D plus.
Yeah.
So okay. Passing game C.
Oof. It's the same thing with Burrow, right? The first 3 games is all dink and dunk.
Yeah, I think he's kind of looking at the receivers and things too.
Well, and the receivers, where's
tight
ends
been non-existent?
And where's T been, right? T had
game 2. He had 1 game.
Game 2. And
Tyler Boyd's been okay.
Yeah.
Irwin has been okay, and so is Yoshevich. And so I'd say C minus.
Probably.
Somewhere in there.
Chase is the one that's carrying you.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Okay. Running game F. They're dead last. Corey, I'm just looking at the thing what he wrote. Dead last in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, they don't value the running game, so it is what it is. So if it's an F, it's an F. If it's a D, it's a D. It's a C, it's a C. Because Mixon hasn't been bad when he has an opportunity.
I don't think Mixon himself would be an F. He's probably a C in terms of his individual, what he's doing. I think he's running hard, and I think I just don't give him much of a chance. And
right,
they either abandon the run, or they too quickly, or they don't even start the run. Those first 2 weeks were criminal that they didn't run the ball more. Joe Burrow can barely move or throw the ball more than 7 yards. So
right.
So yeah,
Callahan did say. Yeah. Sorry, Callahan did say that they're going to be more under center with Burrow being more healthy and a little more play action.
Say that, but he wasn't under center most of last year.
No,
he was healthy last year.
Yeah.
So I can see the F because they are freaking dead last if you look at stats. But I'd give Mixon a C individually.
Sounds good.
So okay. Offensive line D.
Yeah, individually, Zeus is pretty good. Karras has been pretty average. Kappa's been average. Jonah's actually, the second
been
best.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they get a D if you measure them against expectations.
Right.
They should be better.
Yep.
Every one of those guys is getting paid, except Volson.
Right.
But they're not matching what they should be doing based on talent and what they've had success in the past. So I can see a D from there. So, okay. Defense B minus.
Yeah, the defense carried them last game. The defense carried them last couple of games, but early on they were. The Cleveland game, they were non-existent. Couldn't tackle anything. Second game of the year, Baltimore. Offense didn't help them out, but defense didn't hold the lead when we got it. I think we're rounding into shape. So B minus.
Yeah.
I think B, regular B.
Yeah, I was thinking B. B. When they've won, it's been a lot because of the defense.
Right.
Because remember, against Arizona, they had the pick 6.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Taylor-Britt kind of changed the whole momentum there with that.
Yep. But up until then, though, Arizona just went up and down. But yeah,
the defense played pretty well against the Rams.
They did.
So I'd give them a B. In fact, they have 3 wins. Is more the defense than the offense.
Yep.
So then coaching, he gave him a C minus.
Yeah, that's probably right.
I still don't like how they handle the preseason.
No.
The season, and I still don't like how they handle those first couple games, too much passing, that kind of thing. So I probably C- of me is absolute top.
Yep.
So.
All right. Let's move on to, like I said, the high school football season. Week 10 was just this past weekend, and the Ohio Harbine ratings, they came out for South, for our division here, section here. Any matchups that intrigue you across the 7 divisions? What do we got here?
7 divisions.
7 divisions. Yeah. Any that really intrigue you?
I got to say, in my homerism, Fairfield's going to shock the world as the 16 seed going against 10-0 Milford. So
never know.
Never know.
That's why you play the game.
Yeah, I actually was saying to buddies or whatever, Fairfield crew, I'd actually prefer to be the 16 seed and play Milford than the 15 and play Princeton. So,
yeah.
I think their GMC is a better overall, tested than your ECC, since a lot of those ECC teams are Division II teams. So,
yeah, Division I, I think the only other matchup that I'd be interested in is number 6.
Elder Oak Hills is interesting just because of location, geography.
Right. That'd be the one that I would be interested in. Plus, we know people on the coaching staff at Oak Hills as well. So, and then Division II, I think Anderson, Turpin,
Woods, LaSalle.
Yeah, Woods, LaSalle, Anderson, Turpin, because they're right there, same district. That would be.
I just saw Wynwood's LaSalle. That's not normally a first round match. That's usually a third round, if not later, kind of matchup. So
championship round, something. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, Wynwood's is 6 and LaSalle's 11.
Yeah, and LaSalle just took. Who'd they just play? Elder or somebody took them to the wire. They actually were winning most of the game.
Yeah, I think it was Elder.
So I'm sure Woods as a 6 seed is not happy that they get to play LaSalle.
No.
Yeah.
All right, Division III. Anything there?
Nothing that interests me.
No, local, Mount Healthy, but that
Baden
doesn't interest me. Yeah, Baden should win that. Division IV.
Division IV, Indian Hill Reading.
That would be a good one, yes. And then
probably out of all the games I just mentioned, all divisions, that would be the one if I had to go to one.
Yep.
I'd say they're that one or the Woods game, but Indian Hills Reading with CHL connection. So
sure. Right. Division V, anything there? I think
Purcell and Madeira is a good local matchup.
Yeah, Madeira beat them. Beat them in the first or second game of the season. Madeira beat Purcell, so it's a little revenge for Purcell, but Madeira could pull up the upset there. Division VI.
Shout out to the Park, but they're they're the 10 seed, but 3 and 7 is a 10 seed.
3 and 7.
Of course, the 11 seed in that I'm looking at right now is 2 and 8, and they're the 11 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing interests me there.
Nope. And Division 7.
Yeah. St. Bernard, the fact that they're 8 and 2 is pretty impressive. They're not usually. Well, I guess it says they're 14 and 6 last 2 regular seasons. They were. They were a team though that you know for a one win team forever. So.
Right. So.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would say Indian Hill Reading or Woods LaSalle are my 2 favorite matchups first round.
And after next week we'll see, and next Sunday when we're back we'll see if there's any interesting games that we want to look at for there. But until then, good luck to all the local.
Maybe our producer could get us a media pass to one of the games in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, we have
on the sideline media pass or something.
Exactly. We can wear our badges.
And, come on.
Got to get Come on, producer, get on that. Maybe you can do that. So, but yeah, we'll come back next week and talk about that as well. So good luck to all the teams, local teams here in the Cincinnati region. Make your school proud. All right, moving on to trivia. So Crawley, you're gonna have to stump me tonight because Sam's not here for any help.
Yep. I'm here though.
Yeah, Benj is here, so the producer's here. He might be able to help.
Probably not though.
Okay, remember, I asked you about this if you thought you'd have seen this question. So
I have not.
If I say it, once I didn't say give you the question.
Well, that's true.
Say, be honest.
Okay, I'll be honest.
Because I do have a second question.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Okay, so here's your question. And shout out to, I saw this on Twitter, X, whatever the heck it's called now. WTF, whatever they call it. So, so you got it. So the question is, name the 6 FBS teams, college football teams that have plain primary helmets.
Primary helmets.
Without a design, a logo, or numbers on them. There are 6 of them that have across all of FBS that don't have a design, a logo, or numbers on the helmet.
So Penn State's one.
Yep.
Wow.
And I have conference and stuff if you want me to give you those.
Notre Dame would be 2.
Yep.
Boy. That's a good one.
Remember, we got a listening audience here.
Yes, I know. Yes. Sorry, listening audience. If you know, go ahead and chime in right now. Give me a little help since my oldest is not here, and we can. I can need a little help. You can drop it in the chat or just give us a quick shout out on Instagram or Twitter at Cincy Sports Scene. So I got 2. Army, but they got a Army is?
That's one of them.
Really? I thought they had I thought they had like the black, like the horse and stuff.
I think that's a special helmet.
That's a special helmet. Okay.
I mean, even Notre Dame has the shamrock on it.
Well,
but times and stuff. But I think Army's is like that. It's like they bring it out only for special times.
Well, Navy has the N on it.
Nope.
Navy doesn't? I thought Navy had the N.
Nope.
No. So, all right. So Navy. So that's 4.
Yeah.
Alabama has the numbers. So,
they're not on it.
Yeah. Ohio State.
Yep.
That's 5. They have the Buckeyes.
Right, but those are additional stickers.
Yes, I know.
So
and let's see here, the last one.
Maybe leave it to the audience. Come up with that one.
All right, leave it to the audience to come up with that because
if you think of it, you can tell me after after we finish.
So if you know the 6th and final one, please go ahead and chime in on. If you're watching live here on YouTube, you can just put it in the chat, and if not, it'll be up on YouTube as a clip. The producer will get that up there Monday or Tuesday. You can chime in there or just send us, like I said, a chat on Instagram or Twitter at Cincy Sports Scene. All right. Now we are moving in to our topic of the week. And since the Bengals were on a bye, we thought it would be fun to look back at all the drafts since 1968 and do a Cincinnati Bengals best picks per round. So we went just 7 rounds as the new draft went 7 rounds. because we didn't want to have to bore you with 17 picks or 15 picks. But we had to come up with one undrafted, the best undrafted player to make the team.
That was a few and far between. So.
Yeah, but it's pretty easy though.
Well, because there were so few options.
Right. And then we're going to do it with the Reds, the top 3, and then a couple that were late round picks. So, so before we begin this, I do want to get a clarification from Charlie here, because this was his topic. Are we, because I think the number 1 overall pick.
Right. We're not using, we can just say him and he doesn't count.
He doesn't count, so then we have to come up with a different number 1?
Yeah. We said that last week. You said that last week.
Did I? With Munoz?
Yeah.
Okay. So Munoz.
That's the best draft pick they've ever made.
Right. So he's number 1. So we'll have to put somebody else in our number 1. All right. Since it was your topic, you want me to go first, or
you can go? So who's my thought is maybe give us your top, who, like 2 or 3 you were considering, and then who would you go with? And then I'll do the same thing.
So here, obviously Joe Burrow, Carson Palmer, in the trivia answer from a couple of weeks ago, David Verser. Yeah. No, I didn't know. But Burrow and Carson would be probably, I would say right now, recency bias, Burrow, but he got us to the Super Bowl. So that's probably who I would lean towards.
Okay. I had a couple other names on there. I had Isaac Curtis, Willie Anderson. I didn't put Carson on there. I had Isaac Curtis, Willie Anderson, and Joe Burrow as my top 3. And I went with Joe Burrow as well. Probably recency bias for extended career. I probably should, out of the other 2, I was thinking Willie Anderson.
Yeah. Willie was a good one, and Carson Palmer brought us out of the lost decade, right? He gave us hope. And who knows what we could have done in 2005
without his knee injury.
Who was a 6th-round pick by the Bengals.
I know.
But
I ultimately went with Joe Burrow. So
okay. All right.
He obviously took him from the dregs of society. So
for the next one, number 2,
there maybe has been somebody more impactful than him, I guess, maybe. So I went with him. So so round 2, I can go with that.
Round 2, I thought round 2 was probably the best selection that the Bengals had. I think their round 2 probably could be. Yeah, their round 2. They hit more in round 2. I would put them up with against a lot of teams. I don't know if.
Yeah.
So, all right. Tell me who you have.
I had probably 4 main ones. I had more than that, but I had 4 that I had: Chad Johnson, Boomer, Corey Dillon, and Andrew Whitworth. And I went with Chad Johnson as the best round 2 pick.
All right. Though I had those 4 exactly. But I went with Boomer. Just because got us to a Super Bowl. MVP of the league. So that's who I went with.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that was my main debate. Chad Johnson, Boomer. I went with the, stats and, best receiver, his team history, and what he did for the Bengals as a franchise as well. So, but yeah.
All right, round 3. So
and didn't those 2 both went in the Ring of Honor this year together, right?
Yeah, they did.
Chad and Boomer.
So
round 3.
Round 3. I had 3 of them down. So I had Kenny Anderson, David Fulcher, and Reggie Williams. So looks like it's quarterback you. I went Kenny Anderson just because, once again, Super Bowl. But
well, who would be your second? That's easy to pick the quarterback, I think.
Yeah,
so who'd be your next guy if you couldn't pick a quarterback?
Probably Reggie Williams.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. He wasn't like number 4 or 5 for me.
Yeah, I think Reggie, he was the glue to that defense for a long time, and just what he did for the city. He's like, what he did for the city of Cincinnati as well, outside of football. I think he brings the most value there. Who'd you get? Who do you have?
I have Ken Anderson first.
Okay.
But I had a kind of a different group after that. I had Fulcher, but I went Rodney Holman. To me, best tight end history, Bengals history from a playing standpoint. And then I had Dave Lappin.
Wow.
Since I had said I felt like Dave Lappin should have been in the Ring of Honor this year.
Right.
So I would have. I mean, Dave Lappin might have been my number 2, just and again, not necessarily just on the field, but everything that he's done for the Bengals and Mr. Homer and stuff, and Mr. Bengal himself. Right. So,
but was he a councilman like Reggie Williams?
Well, that may downgrade him. So,
not at the time that he was a councilman. All right, round 4. Who do you have?
Round 4 it was easy to get my number 1, but it was not. It was pretty limited who was out there. I only had 3 names, period, and I was stretching for those 3 names even.
I had 2.
My number 1 was Geno Atkins by far. I mean, once I saw him round 4, I was like, well, there you go. That's easy the number 1. And then I had Rudy Johnson, and then I had Robert Geathers, who played for a long time for the Bengals. So that was it. I mean, Geno Atkins was way ahead of the other 2.
Yeah, I had Geno, Rudy, and that's the only 2 I could come up with. Yep. So I went Geno as well. All right, round 5. This could be interesting. This might be the special team round.
Yeah,
it seems like that's where they draft everybody. So, to answer your question last week, Crawley, where you said, how many wide receivers get drafted from Harvard when we were talking about Yoshi and his touchdown. This guy right here, Pat McAnally, was a Harvard wide receiver punter. So I had him. I had Kevin Huber. I had Marvin Jones, CJ, and Evan McPherson down. Out of those, I went with Kevin Huber. I was looking at Pat because Pat played wide receiver as well as punter. But just looking at the longevity of Huber, and he had a better average overall, average 45 yards to 41, more inside the 20, less touchbacks. And our punting has taken a hit since he's left. So I went with Huber.
Yeah, I went with the same guys. I went with Huber, longevity, and he has been the best punter in Bengals history, where none of those other guys can claim anything about being the best in anything for Bengals history. So McPherson maybe eventually. I'm hoping he does. Hoping he'd be eventually the best kicker, but he's too young at this point. So yeah, Huber was, once I got the full list made, he was pretty easy to decide for me.
All right, round 6. This was an easy
very thin pick. Yeah, because it was so thin pickings. I only had 2 guys on here, 2 names, and I put the second name just to have a second name. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So
Hall of Fame. Yeah.
And my only other name I put on here was Larry Kinnebrew.
I had 2 other names. I had the Rattler. I had Larry Kinnebrew, but I also had Rex Burkhead.
Not for the Bengals, though. He didn't even do anything with it. He never even played for the Bengals.
Yeah, he did. He played a little bit for him.
A little bit.
I remember Rex. And then Neil Rackers.
He was a better Patriot and a better whatever or every place else he went.
Yeah.
So I
Neil
saw
Rackers.
him and I'm like, no, not for the Bengals. Neil Rackers. Oh my God.
Neil Rackers.
We want to run him out of town. Like Neil Rackers. I refuse to put him on there.
Well, I put Neil, but
he was the same as Fat, whatever. What was the Fat kicker's name?
Fat Randy? Randy Bullock? We didn't draft Randy. We didn't draft Randy Bullock.
Still.
As you can see right here, I had all those and then I just scratched them all out when I came to Ken Riley. I was like, oh yeah, Ken Riley. All right. The last round, number 7. This was
I had five names on there.
I had 5 as well. So I think I know where you're going, but we'll see if you know where I go.
Okay.
Lamar Parrish, Lewis Breeden, Max Montoya, Joe Walter, and TJ Houshmandzadeh.
That's my same 5.
Yep.
Exact same 5. Yep.
I went with the cornerback, Lamar Parrish.
Did you?
Yeah, because he was, with him and Ken Riley side by side, Lamar Parrish was an all-pro. He was also a kick returner or punt returner, and he ran a couple back. Him and Ken Riley were probably one of the best shutdown corners before there was shutdown corners in the league. And Lamar wanted to get paid, and
Paul Brown wasn't having any of that. So.
Paul Brown wasn't having that. He's like, go, get out of here, be a free agent somewhere. But yeah, he was an all-pro. So that's who I went with, and I know who you're going with.
You think I'm going to go with the glory?
TJ?
No.
You didn't go with.
I didn't. I went Max Montoya.
The curse.
Because I think he was the best guard in the NFL during that time. That small window, but 81, 82, the Bengals, Super Bowl year, and very successful years here.
And once again, he wanted to get paid, and Paul Brown said nope. And
TJ was a good receiver, especially as a 7th rounder. He was way above expectation. He was a good number 2, but Max Montoya, I think, laid claim to being not just the 2nd best lineman on the team, which he was,
right?
But he was also top 1 to 3 guards in the whole NFL. So, so I ended up going with him. So,
all right. And then the
undrafted. There's only one guy considered, and I didn't really even want to consider him when I looked at the list. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna maybe just boycott this category. But, so I'll let you talk. Because I don't really want to.
Hey, the hitmaster, headhunter, Vontez,
cheap shot artist,
perfect. Vontez, anchored the defense there for many years, but so yeah. That was the Bengals side undrafted. If you have somebody else, if you disagree with our picks, feel free to chime in and let us know who you would have instead of ours. We're going to go to the Reds now. So I found this more difficult than the Bengals because I couldn't find the draft picks. After everywhere I searched, it gave me like the Reds' top 3 picks or their best.
It was definitely a lot harder.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the later rounds. I'm like going, crap. I
don't know if it's just because of how many picks there are over the course of history or whatever.
Maybe.
That the Wikipedia page would be like 800 pages or something. Like, I had the same issue.
Yeah, so we probably have. I do need a clarification here. When we're talking draft picks here for baseball, Reds drafted them. Do they have to play a game with the big league club?
I put some guys on there that were drafted by the Reds, but then went somewhere else.
I did too, but
not for any of my number one, like my number 1 pick. Not anybody that I said was the best at that for those first 3 rounds.
First 3, yeah.
For the first 3 rounds, I picked all actual Reds.
Well, because number 3, there's a debate, right? I had a debate, and that's what I wanted to clarify. But
I'll go first round.
All right. The Hall of Famer, shortstop, Barry Larkin. I mean, that's probably the greatest first-round pick that the Reds had.
Did you?
I didn't have anybody else. Yeah, I just,
once you saw him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
he's my number one. That was pretty easy, but I did have Jay Bruce.
Oh yeah, Brucey, Bernie Carbo,
Rob Dibble was first round.
Yeah. Jack Armstrong.
No. Yes, he was first round.
Yes, he was.
I put Yasmani Grandal on the list because of just his success in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So it was Dibble, Bruce, and Larkin. And I went with Larkin.
Round two.
Round two was tough. Round two was better names for the Reds. Right. Definitely, it's kind of like the Bengal thing, I guess. So
yeah.
I mean, they had real good names.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, I had 5 names on the list.
Ooh. Share them.
Johnny Bench, Zach Cozart, Joey Votto, Adam Dunn, and Chris Sabo. So, and I went with Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
I mean, Votto was, when I didn't have any, I knew Votto was second round, so I had Votto's name first, and then I just kind of started looking. And then as I got one website, I actually had like more number picks and stuff. And I was like, Johnny Bench, number 2, was a second rounder. Guess I need to put him on the list.
Yeah. So. He was second round because I think Carbo was number 1 that round, Bernie Carbo.
So those are the 5 names I found that were worth putting on the list. And I'm going to go Johnny Bench over Votto.
All right. And then
do you agree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I had Bench down.
You didn't say anything.
I had Bench. Yeah, Bench.
Okay. Number 3, round 3, I had 2 names only.
That's what I had. And this is where it's like, okay, the red was Aaron Boone. And then Danny Tartable had a nice career for other teams other than the Reds.
No, I didn't have him.
Oh, okay. Who'd you have?
I had Raleigh Eastwick.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one, too.
I went with Aaron Boone, but those are the only 2 names I found.
Yeah. All right. And then what about others on your list?
Because you wanted to be above 10th round, right?
Yeah. I was like,
so I found 1 red. I only found 1 guy who that was an actual red. I found 2, this guy and another guy who was a stud, who was drafted by the Reds after the 10th round.
After the 10th round? I had him I had 1 on the 10th round.
I had an 11th rounder.
Okay. I had him 10th rounder, shortstop, turned into a relief pitcher. So
I had him. What I saw, you're talking about Trevor Hoffman.
Yeah, I'm talking about Trevor Hoffman.
Where I found him said 11th round.
Oh, where I found him said 10th round. So, but
okay. Well.
Oh well.
Either way, but I had him.
Either way,
and then my red was 29th round, Ken Griffey.
Ken Griffey, yes, that is a very good one. Ken Griffey. So I had a few on here, and I had a hard time finding. You can put Griffey on there for me too. But so I had like number 8, Eric Davis was an 8th round pick.
Yep.
Tom Browning was a 9th round pick. Like I said, Hoffman and Tucker Barnhart were 10th round pickers. And then we go, the 12th round pick. And this is just for old timers. Kurt Bavakwa. I don't know if you remember Kurt Bavakwa.
I mean, I remember the name because
the only reason I remember the guy is because I had a baseball card and he won the Bazooka Big League bubble blowing contest, and that was his baseball card. He had it, it was like 17 inches or something like that that he blew a bubble, not with the Topps gum, but it was with like bazooka gum. So I put him on as 12th. And then 15th is the Blake Dunn, the new guy.
He hasn't made the majors yet.
He hasn't yet, but we'll see. And then Gary Reedus was 15 and Eddie Milner was 21. So those were my guys that I had. just for fun.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't have any of those guys. I had Eric Davis down just because I thought it was cool that he was an 8th round pick as a shortstop.
Right.
So, but that was it.
Reds pick pretty well shortstops. So,
right.
What was Stillwell? Was Stillwell
shortstop?
Yeah, but was he a 1st round pick or a 2nd round?
I think so. I think he was the year after or year before Barry Larkin.
He was either one or I think it was 2 years before Larkin. I think it was 83. But yeah, I don't know. All right. That wraps up our Reds and Bengals draft picks. Top 3 picks, probably pretty unanimous across the board. Some of you might say Votto over Bench, but I don't know if I would agree with you. But I just don't know. I mean,
well, I kind of look at it as like, Bench can lay claim to being the best catcher ever in history. Votto cannot lay claim to being the best first baseman in history.
Right. So there we go. But he could be the best in the sabermetric era. So on base percentage, Joey Votto. But so yeah, we'll move on. So if you think you have somebody different, if you can find a gem, especially from rounds 10 on, better than Ken Griffey, let us know. Please do. All right. That wraps up episode number 62. So we appreciate you for listening or watching. Next week's we're going to be talking Halloween theme, since Halloween will be on that Tuesday after we air. So we're going to come up with some scariest movies that we think of all time. Our favorite candy as a kid growing up for trick-or-treating, what we wanted to get, the best costume that we had as a kid, and then some like sports related, like the scariest athlete, like an athlete you would not want to play against or face. And it doesn't have to be baseball or football. It could be any athlete.
Christian Okoye.
Yeah. And then also like some unexplained, moments in sports that has to deal with some superstition and like, stuff like that. So that's going to be next week's. Should be fun. Crawley is going to come dressed up as something. I don't know, but
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he'll come up with something. So we'll put out his Forrest Gump hat and it'll be good. But yeah, so next week should be fun. If you guys have any suggestions out there for a topic, or if you want to chime in with some of the scariest things, please do so. Until next week, for Charlie and Sam, I'm Dave. Take care, everybody.
Take care.